Welcome to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len Schroeder.
And I'm Julio Zamora.
Our friend Vincent from Paramus called. He told us about his forsythia starting to bloom now when it's cold. We'll discuss it in our first segment.
Joanne texted the Bloomers in the Garden hotline and is having negative encounters with woodpeckers. We'll tell you all about it in our second segment.
Maryanne called the Bloomers in the Garden hotline and described a problem with her pink dogwood. We have bad news for her in our third segment.
New Jersey Department of Agriculture places all counties in New Jersey on spotted lanternfly quarantine. We'll explain what that means to New Jersey and Pennsylvania residents in our fourth segment.
On this week's Houseplant Rant, we're talking about the craze for collectible houseplants. You'll find out what that means in our final segment.
So stay tuned, and we'll be back in the garden right after these messages. Bloomers in the Garden is brought to you each week by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Bloomers is an award-winning garden center just 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Bloomers has been providing expert advice turning brown thumbs green for over 30 years. At Bloomers, we want you to ask us every question, even if you think it's silly. We share information in a friendly, non-judgmental way that is meant to teach and spread the joy of gardening. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center in Washington Township, Gloucester County. For directions, go to bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Fertilum's azalea and evergreen food plus systemic insecticide 915-3 contains 5 micronutrients which are designed for azaleas and evergreens to provide the proper nutrients and producing stunning green leaves and essential new growth while protecting the plant from damaging insects for up to 8 weeks. Fertilum's azalea and evergreen food contains 9% nitrogen for green growth, building bigger stems and leaves, 15% phosphorus for root growth and increased flower production, 13% potash to promote vigorous growth so plants are better able to resist disease and cold. The micronutrients are the icing on the cake to enhance further growth, strengthen, and beautify color. Tired of seeing your plants prematurely drop their leaves, the flowers disappear? Fertilum's Azalea Evergreen Food plus Systemic Insecticide 915-13 contains an easy-to-apply insecticide that keeps your azaleas and evergreens looking great all year long. Those hungry insects do not have a chance. Apply in spring before buds sprout and continue throughout the season as indicated on the label growing guide. Fertilum's Azalea and Evergreen Food plus Systemic Insecticide 915-13 with micronutrients is a must for the passionate azalea and evergreen grower to help produce that beautiful abundance of color and fantastic fragrance everyone will love. So next time you visit your favorite garden center, pick up Fertilum's Azalea and Evergreen Food plus Systemic and expect to have the best looking shrubs in the neighborhood. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies 1250 AM WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Hey, Julio.
Hey, Len.
It's been a while.
I know it has been, hasn't it?
If any of you noticed, we've been actually pre-recorded a few episodes.
That's right.
Yes, we have our winter hiatus, right?
That's right.
What, about a week or so?
Yeah, we've been traveling, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we have. I've been to, Baltimore, Tampa, Fort Lauderdale.
Mm-hmm. Harrisburg.
Harrisburg. That's right.
You went to a farm show.
That's right. We went to the farm show.
That's right.
And I went to the Bahamas.
Oh, yes. That was a treat, huh?
Yeah, brought back COVID.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, anyway.
He's all well and done here.
Yeah. So, in any case, Vincent,
yeah,
hey, thank you for calling. Vincent's question, actually, he doesn't have a question. He has a comment. It's winter, and it's the beginning of February, and his forsythia have started to blossom.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, it happens when we have mild winters. But you know what? Listen to what Vincent had to say.
Hi, Len, Vincent from Paramus. No question today. Just want to FYI, I have a forsythia shrub, south-facing, and believe it or not, as of 3 days ago, it's got 6 bloom flowers on it and a partial greenery. That's all. I just thought you guys would be interested in knowing that. And if you have a comment on it, I'll try to listen to your comments on the Sunday show if you comment on it this Sunday, usually around the 15 minutes before you guys sign off. Thank you. Vincent from Paramus.
There you go, Vincent.
Come on, Vincent. You got to get up earlier. You got to hear the whole show, not the last 15 minutes.
Right. Come on.
You want to just know how it ends? Well, look, we fooled you because we're in the beginning of the show.
That's right.
Hopefully you're listening. But I'll tell you what, it's not an uncommon thing. Yeah. And there are certain plants. You got anything blooming in your yard? Do you have any bulbs that have come up or anything?
Yes, I have. I have some bulbs coming up.
What do you have? What do you have coming up? Tulips, daffodils?
Daffodils.
Daffodils?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It has been a very mild winter.
It has.
It's colder today, I think, than any day that I can think of. Mm-hmm. And that it's going to warm up again.
It is.
And it's not. And what I mean by warm, 30s, upper 30s.
Upper 30s, yeah.
You know,
40s.
we haven't had that 20 degree, sustained temperature. Good.
Good. Yeah.
Good.
We like that.
Yeah. Good. But your plants need to go through this transition of cold. Even again, like if you think that, okay, so this weather that we've been having is more like, say, South Carolina, North Carolina, along the coastal regions, and that it happens. Yep, his forsythia, though, if we drop, like I think we were in the 20s last night, if it drops and continuously, those buds and those flowers and those leaves are going to just die off. Yeah. But generally, there are secondary buds, so he'll have foliage, but he's probably not going to get the flower buds. Yeah. So they may come out in just leaves, which is not a bad thing. Yeah. Forsythia, they go gangbusters in flowers, so you won't probably even notice it. If we get teens or lower, that section may die. And it's basically, Mother Nature is doing its own pruning cycle, and it just have a little bit of dieback. And not a problem.
Not a big deal. No.
It's not a big deal because especially with the way that forsythia are, they just grow like crazy anyway.
Oh, yeah. Quickly.
Probably won't, Vincent, you probably won't even notice it.
Yeah.
But there are some plants that will do it when they're under stress. And, there's sometimes where you'll get azaleas or PJMs or that style of broadleafed evergreen where it starts to flower in the wintertime, and that's a bad thing. Yeah. That most likely they're going to...
But the forsythia is an early blooming.
Early blooming.
Yeah, early blooming, yeah.
I mean, just grows so fast that it's not going to be really hurt.
Nah.
But like you said, you have bulbs popping out of the ground.
Bulbs are popping out, yeah.
Don't touch them. No. Don't touch them. Right? Just leave them alone. Okay, yeah. People will do more damage trying to cover them. Oh, I'm going to put mulch over them. And that is going to damage the flowers. They're never going to look right. Yeah. Just leave them alone. Mother Nature knows what she's doing.
Yeah,
and Puxatawny Phil this week.
Oh, my gosh.
I tell you. Vincent may listen to the guy in Staten Island. Yeah. He's a wannabe. He's a wannabe groundhog. Anyway, 6 more weeks of winter, where the other guy said that it wasn't. So,
right.
I don't know. Sorry. Puxatawny Phil has been at it for more years. And I think the mayor of New York City dropped him. I don't know if that was this year, but one day I was like, he was afraid.
Oh, my
Coward.
yeah, right.
But if we get snow on top of your bulbs, that's the best thing for them.
Yeah, it is.
Poor man's mulch.
Poor
man's mulch. You know, we may get 6 weeks of winter, but you can guarantee this. In March, it'll be windy and cold. And winter damage is more a problem than anything else. You know, explain winter damage, Julio.
It's usually coming from the winter winds. They're so cold, and they're gonna affect your plants.
Dries them out.
Dries them out. Yeah.
Dries them out. Now we've had pretty good moisture levels.
We have.
Which
been
is
raining
a good
pretty
thing.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. So the plants should be turgid.
Turgid.
It's a 10. I know what I'm talking about because I'm a horticulturist.
That's right.
Turgid just means basically that the stems are filled with moisture from the ground, and they're doing good.
Mm-hmm.
That April, I can guarantee it's going to rain.
It's gonna rain. Yeah.
It's going to rain. And May, flowers come.
That's right.
You know the song. Anyway, but all in all, your plants, if they're blooming for the most part, should just be fine, and that the new growth will outgrow any of that spot where there should be flowers, and you'll be fine.
Great.
Anything to add, Julio?
Yeah, I always look at the my Syngenta
Here you go.
soil temperatures.
What is today's soil temperature, Julio?
Today is, right now at this point, it's 33. All right?
33?
Yeah.
So it's not frozen.
No, it's not frozen.
Could I plant today if I wanted to?
Yes, you can.
Hear that, everyone? Got those leftover bulbs. Get them in the ground.
Yeah, never too late.
Never too late.
5-day average, listen to this, 37.8.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just that cold snap that we've got brought it down 5 degrees.
It down, yeah.
It's all about soil temperature, folks, where you're really concerned about plants and such. And that for us to have that high a soil temperature, it's rare. I don't want to hear anybody call about global warming. Okay? You can send your complaint mail to Julio Zamora, care of Bloomers in the Garden.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, you guys can talk about it. Whatever. You know, I'm in the long game. Okay?
Glad to hear
I'm in the long game. Eventually, we'll have like another ice age.
That's right.
And then we'll prove all those, all those people. Yeah, we'll have an ice age.
The ice age.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, all right. Anything to add, Ul?
No, I think we pretty much hit everything on a nail there.
Vincent, thank you for calling. Everybody out there, I would love to hear your phone calls about how your houseplants are doing right now. What are things going on in your yard that you see? We've got great calls this week, so you know the number, right? It's 609-685-1880.
It's great that Vince is outside, looking at all these things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's vigilant.
That's right.
That's great.
Right.
Good job, Vince.
Thanks, Vince. Our old stomping ground, right, Aaron?
Yeah.
Yep. Bergen County. All right, we'll be back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. You know, some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend organic potting soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor organic potting soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend organic potting soil is available at these local retailers. Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, PA. Ashcombs Farm and Greenhouses, Mechanicsburg, PA. Sickles, Little Silver, New Jersey. Your next houseplant is waiting for you in Bloomer's Home and Garden Center's greenhouse. Bloomers recognizes that houseplant choices are as important to your interior decorating as the fabric on your couch. The right plant, paired with the perfect container, can bring a dynamic change to your home. A houseplant brings life to your world and connects your home's interior to the greater outdoors. Even a small succulent placed on your coffee table has a way of connecting your living room to the Amazon rainforest. How about an air plant in your kitchen? Looking for an indoor flowering plant to add color to your plant palette? Bloomers has a large revolving assortment of flowering beauties. From aglaonemas to ZZ plants, Bloomers Greenhouse is stocked with your next favorite indoor plant. Bloomers carries a large selection of pottery and containers to match your home's decor and make any of your plants more beautiful. Bloomers experts can help you care for your plants and have the fertilizer, insecticides, leaf shine, and specialty soils you need to grow healthy and happy indoor plants. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse and make every room in your home a living room. Visit bloomers.com for more information. That's bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB, and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Well, Joanne texted us and a few weeks back, by the way, and had woodpeckers, yes, woodpeckers damaging her home. How about that? Here's her text.
Hi, Bloomers in the Garden. We have a problem with woodpeckers attacking our wood trim. Any ideas? Thanks. Joanne Campion.
Wow.
Ha ha.
Getting attacked.
A little. Anyway, so woodpeckers, first of all, woodpeckers are protected. So if you have any ideas about going and leave them alone.
That's right. Don't mess with it.
They're protected by the Federal Migratory Bird Treaty Act. If you're convicted of killing one, your fine can be up to $500. Ready for this, Julio?
Go ahead.
6 months in jail.
Oh, my goodness.
Both.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Anyway, so first of all, no matter how you feel, leave them alone.
That's right.
But first of all, Julio and I had a discussion about this, and he was saying there's like, oh, they're after insects in the wood. What they're doing is they're trying to find a nesting spot, and most of the time this happens in fall and then again in spring. So my guess, Joanne, please let us know: have they stopped, or is those cavities still being created? It's wood trim. Yeah. So if you have siding, it's not going to happen. So just saying, just saying. So those of you that have siding, you'll be happy to know. But they also want to. Basically, they're saying, "This is my turf.
Yeah.
So stay away. This is my turf. I made these holes." And that I don't want you to other woodpeckers to move in because they're also trying to find a mate. Ooh. All that, one track mind.
One track mind.
So
there you go.
That's it.
Oh my goodness.
So anyway, sometimes it could be like you said, insects, but rarely is it that. And there are a couple of different types of holes where they make like straight line holes that'll look like they're in a row, like crop circles.
Oh, is that what it is?
But most of the time in our area, they're going to be larger holes. And again, looking at like a cavity for nesting. That's what they're doing. But here's the thing. What do you do? What do you do about it? Oh, boy. All those CDs that you have that you can't play anymore because you don't have a CD player?
Is that what
you're
we
making
did?
make a scare, so a bird scare out of them because they have to move. Like we sell the owls and the different things, but like the owls, if they don't move, the birds aren't stupid. They're like, oh, look, how nice, an ornament for us. So, but where if you hang the CDs and it's you're looking for something that glitters, you know how like it's iridescent on the one side and it that's what you're looking for. So if you take old CDs and you hang them up like a mobile, look, it's not going to look the greatest. Yeah. You know, somebody may come by and say, "Oh, look how clever!
Yeah, look at that!
How
artwork.
clever!
What
It's
artwork?
beautiful."
Oh yeah.
There are plenty of let's just say metal things on a stick that we sell that sometimes I wonder.
Yeah, what is it?
But again, aluminum pie plates strung vertically on a cord, where you actually have to get a ladder and you have to get up so that they move because they also make a little sound when it's raining, so you get a little more to it. Metallic pinwheels, you know, the kind that, you know, you're a kid.
Yeah.
Julio, I'm sure you had them running around.
Yeah. Sure, that was cool.
Yeah, you're a geek, weren't you?
Yeah, I was.
So anyway, those will work. There's a Mylar tape that you can get. Like I think we have it in our watershed by our pond to try to keep birds away from fish. That just a length of it about 2 feet will twist in the wind will be enough to scare them out of those holes, and they don't want to go back. I saw this suggestion. I thought it was kind of goofy, but you know, like when you go to a car dealer, used car dealer, and they have those long flags that flutter in the wind, and they're triangular. Hey, you can staple them to your house, and that will scare them. Also, you know, we have like these. They're like balloons, and they look like a yellow eye.
Oh, yeah, right.
Hey,
what?
They are supposed to scare the birds because they move and it freaks them out, and that they don't go anywhere near there. But again, keeping the area with a that type of glittery, shiny, moving mobile is something that will work.
It'll work, yeah.
And a lot of times what happens is when trees die, they usually have an insect in them, and that's what the woodpeckers are looking for. And when they can't find any trees because everybody cuts them down right away, they have no place to live. So I personally have woodpeckers that I have an oak tree that is not doing the best, and that I have downy woodpeckers and regular red-bellied woodpeckers that are after that tree, and that I wondered, like, I'm too cheap to cut it down for $1,000. I'm not.
Let the
it's
woodpeckers
still living.
Yeah, let the woodpeckers live there, right?
Yeah, and that it gives the woodpeckers something to eat. Yeah, so don't be in a hurry, you know, to go and cut your tree down right away. Let it sit there, see if Mother Nature can get some of those insects out of it, and maybe you might be able to get it come back. In any case, that's the information that I've got, and it is a pain. You've got to fill. You have to fill those holes with wood filler, and then you have to paint over it. Best thing is to use an oil-based paint, as if like there was never anything there. But you do have to fill those holes, or else you'll have the woodpeckers coming back every year, plus you may get other animals in there. So any of those holes, if you have them, get that wood filler, get them sealed up, and then get them painted.
And that's something.
All right. Do you ever have holes in your house?
No. Mine's all aluminum.
Yours all aluminum sided?
Oh,
yeah. All right. Aaron, do you?
Yeah. No question about it. And it actually, they came from woodpeckers.
Really?
Oh, and wow. Last year, they actually created more holes, and now we have bees.
All right. See, another thing, filling up those holes.
Yeah.
All right, and that's another thing. We'll certainly talk about that, carpenter bees in the spring.
Yeah.
So
that's coming up.
Yep, we will certainly talk about that. Yeah. All right, we'll be back right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA. The Bird Sanctuary at Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is dedicated to the care and feeding of wild birds. We carry a flock of feeders like the Brome Squirrel-Proof Feeder, which has a lifetime guarantee. Brome makes fantastic feeders for frustrating squirrels and feeding songbirds. Bloomer's Bird Sanctuary has a vast selection of wild bird seed, suet, seed cakes, and mealworms. We carry Lyric, Coles, C&S, Pine Tree Farms, and our own line called Bloomer's Blend. Bloomer's Blend Songbird Magnet contains premium black oil sunflower, peanut splits, millet, safflower, and tree nuts. It's sure to attract the most colorful songbirds to your yard. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is located in Washington Township in Gloucester County, New Jersey. Visit us online at www.bloomers.com. When you come in, ask for Shirley Spurbeck, Bloomer's Wild Bird Specialist. Mention you heard it on Bloomers in the Garden Radio, and we'll give you $10 off a 20-pound bag of Bloomer's Blend Songbird Magnet Mix. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Julio.
Go.
Maryanne called the Bloomers in the Garden hotline and described a problem with her pink dogwood. Here, listen to her call.
Hi, this is Maryanne. I have a 10-year pink dogwood, and it blooms beautifully in the spring, but as soon as the flowers fall off, the leaves curl and they get all brown, and they're like that all summer until the fall. So somebody can diagnose it.
Well,
Wow. Yeah.
What does she have?
She has what's called anthracnose,
Yep.
and it's a disease which is pretty tough to get rid of.
And it's common on, like, we always talk about there's the different names, botanical names of plants, genus, species, varietal, and that it's regular dogwoods, Cornus cusa, is not, it's Cornus florida is the variety that gets it.
It's really bad.
And that's the original dogwood. And that there are still some nurseries that are selling them, and that you can get them. And it really was the original, like, pink. So it would be, again, you'd get a Cornus florida rubra, which is the pink one. And why am I saying all this? Because Cornus florida is the variety that gets anthracnose disease the worst. And it starts out like a purpley spots on the flowers, and then it goes onto the leaves. And honestly, there's not a whole lot you can do about it.
Yeah.
It is in the stems of the plant. And that being said,
when it goes to her stage, like she was saying, it gets flowers and then it goes.
Right.
It's a season's worth of spraying that she needs to do.
Oh, yeah.
And it's honestly not very realistic. Every 2 weeks, it will need a spray. And one of the sprays that we recommend is Mancozeb, which is Bonide makes it. Mm-hmm. It's basically a copper type of spray. I mean, it needs to be done every couple of weeks. And then that way it will penetrate the plant. But it's in the plant. When it drops those leaves and flowers, they need to be raked up, and you need to get rid of them because the spores of the disease are in those leaves. And if you're still leaving them on the ground, it's going to reinfect it and infect any other dogwoods. Early, I guess in the 2000s, it was a concern that all dogwoods were going to be wiped out in the forests and that are naturally occurring. Fortunately, that didn't necessarily happen, but it still is prevalent in all the Cornus Florida varieties. Again, when it's this past year, right? This past spring, really wet. So 2022, our spring was wet.
Super wet, yeah, I can remember.
It is the perfect incubator for dogwood and anthracnose.
That's it.
If we have a dry early spring, it is good, I guess, for the dogwood and not good for anthracnose because it basically dries up those spores a little bit before they can do that type of damage. It also is it survives in the fruit. Now, most people don't think about dogwood and fruit, but they all get a berry.
Berries, yeah.
Birds will eat them, and which is great. But when they fall on the ground, it's just like the leaves falling on the ground. It has the disease that is in there, and it's really hard to accomplish any real control. If you prune your dogwood and open it up so that it gets better air circulation around it, that will help somewhat. But there is really not much of a cure. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, and it's going to be a cycle. And during the break, Julio and I were talking about how that they get a what's called witch's broom. Witch's broom is like a cluster of growth that looks like it's been pruned real hard, but it just occurs naturally in certain trees. And that a sign of a badly infected tree will be that witch's broom throughout the tree. And it may not be long for this world if you start seeing that. But again, the best way to combat it is by not planting that variety. I'm proud to be a resident of New Jersey and proud to say that Rutgers University has done incredible work in developing varieties of dogwoods that are resistant to dogwood anthracnose. They have taken a cross between the Korean dogwood, which is Cornus cusa, and the traditional Cornus Florida, and crossed them to where you have different varieties that are both white but also pink. A lot of times, like we talk about this all the time, oh, it's red, where it's not really red. It's more like a really dark pink. So there are what are called red varieties. If you look for varieties at your local garden center, and that's where you need to go.
That's where it is.
Go to your local garden center and tell them you're looking for any of the Rutgers hybrids, or if you are looking through names of dogwoods, and it seems like there's names of planets or something to do with, like for instance, there's a variety called Celestial. And that's a great variety. One of my favorite is called Venus. Venus had giant flowers.
Super big.
Really big flowers. And that we actually get our Venus dogwoods. Most of them come out from Oregon. There's also, one of the most popular varieties. Again, it's the Stellar series. It's Stellar Pink is the first variety that has been successfully, and it's a true pink dogwood. Now, keep this in mind. Cornus Florida, the one that gets the disease, flowers first and then gets its leaves. Cornus Cusa gets its leaves first and then it gets its flowers. Now,
Amazing.
I personally don't find an issue with that. I mean, some landscape architects may, but to be honest, if you're not having to deal with the issues that of dogwood and anthracnose, I wouldn't plant any other type of dogwood that's not in that Rutgers series. There's now the gentleman that Dr. Orton, where he started this in the 90s and did it for 20 years. There's now a new somebody. He's passed the mantle. He has passed the mantle to someone else, and that again, it is still new varieties are coming out, and I know that like for instance Venus was named in his honor, so the actual botanical name has his name in it. If I was looking for a white dogwood, I think the only white dogwood I would get would be a Venus. Because the flowers are double the size of a regular dogwood. Yeah. And Cornus Cusa naturally have a pointed star type flower where it looks a little bit different than the Florida, but the variety Venus actually has a similar look to the Florida variety. I've got a fun fact.
Oh, yeah?
Dogwoods generally bloom right around Easter. Right. And have you ever noticed that, and we'll talk with Cornus Florida, that if you look, that there's a little bit of brown, and there's 4 flowers, and there's a little bit of brown on the flower itself. You've got to look for it, and that being it flowers around Easter, that it said that those spots where the brown is are for where the nails went into Christ.
No kidding! Wow.
See, Julio's amazed.
Yeah, I never.
Next time you see,
I have to look.
You take a look.
Oh yeah,
take a look. Love old wives' tales like that. Again, I'm sorry to give the bad news, but it's going to be almost impossible to control. Yeah. You have to hope for dry springs. Just keep it going and see what happens. But at some point, it may just succumb to the anthracnose. Otherwise, if it's still coming out, like after what you described in your call, and it's still living, you're doing okay. Yeah. But again, it was an unusually wet spring last year, so hopefully it'll be better this year.
Hopefully, yeah.
All right. Anything to add, Julio Zamora?
Yeah, don't give up, Maryanne. I would. And if she wants to get a new one, I mean, why not?
She said it's 10 foot tall.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be half the size.
Right.
But at least it's gonna thrive.
Yeah, it is. So, I would definitely think about, having
just replacing it.
Replacing it.
Cut it down and replace it.
Yeah, because can you imagine, after it flowers now, you have all this anthracnose.
That's true. That's true. It becomes unsightly.
It does.
Okay.
And you want a beautiful plant.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, so don't, think about that. And maybe you want to, just get a new one. The series that we're talking about are really nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, you're fortunate to live within the area where these plants are grown, but they are grown all over the country. Like I said, they're being grown in Oregon. They're, of course, being in New Jersey, Tennessee, all over the country. The Rutgers series are the ones that are produced the most now.
Oh, yeah. Dogwoods are beautiful.
They are. I love dogwoods.
Yeah.
I
mean, they're great for birds, too. I mean, they love the fruit. And,
that's it. It's a benefit. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back in the garden right after this.
Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. 605-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Your next houseplant is waiting for you in Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse. Bloomers recognizes that houseplant choices are as important to your interior decorating as the fabric on your couch. The right plant, paired with the perfect container, can bring a dynamic change to your home. A houseplant brings life to your world and connects your home's interior to the greater outdoors. Even a small succulent placed on your coffee table has a way of connecting your living room to the Amazon rainforest. How about an air plant in your kitchen? Looking for an indoor flowering plant to add color to your plant palette? Bloomers has a large revolving assortment of flowering beauties. From aglaonemas to ZZ plants, Bloomers Greenhouse is stocked with your next favorite indoor plant. Bloomers carries a large selection of pottery and containers to match your home's decor and make any of your plants more beautiful. Bloomers experts can help you care for your plants and have the fertilizer, insecticides, leaf shine, and specialty soils you need to grow healthy and happy indoor plants. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse and make every room in your home a living room. Visit bloomers.com for more information. That's bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with the #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Well, New Jersey's Secretary of Agriculture, Douglas Fisher, announced this week that every county in New Jersey is now under quarantine. One of the primary purposes of the quarantine is to bring attention to residents and business owners to check all materials and vehicles for the spotted lanternfly or its egg masses before moving goods or traveling. This is really important, huh, Len?
It is. It is. Now, Pennsylvania has been under the same type of quarantine, and that, let's just do a history. We have been banging the gong since it was probably
we were probably one of the first.
It was. I mean, we have been talking about spotted lanternfly, discovered in Berks County, Pennsylvania in 2014, 9 years ago, and now it's in 14 states.
Wow.
We need to be vigilant about this pest because it does affect agricultural products, but it also is a menace where it's honeydew is deposited over lawn furniture, trees, patios, and it just is black soot. It's pretty gross.
It is gross.
And that, again, honeydew is crap. No way to say it. Yeah. But again, it's what happens. Now, right now, spotted lanternflies, adults, are gone. They are dead. They don't migrate. They don't do anything. They go through their 7 instar series to become adults so that they can mate and lay the egg masses, and then they just basically die from the cold weather. Now, the egg masses, Julio, can you describe what an egg mass looks like?
Yeah, the egg mass is going to be almost like a putty, and so it's kind of a grayish, whitish look, and then you'll see this in everywhere, pretty much, on a tree, on furniture, on if you have wood for fire burning, and it's all over, folks. You have to really be aware of it.
Right, and it's not going to be real high. It's going to be usually they say it's about chest high, so anywhere between 4 to 6 feet. And the way that they talk about getting rid of it is they always say use a credit card. I'm not using my Visa to scrape up. You know,
who wants to do that?
So if you have a Discover card, you don't use it that much. Maybe use that. But again,
one of your cards.
Yeah, well, not using my card. I use your business card. If we go, you need to go and scrape it.
Yeah,
and then you drop the scrapings into like a baggie,
Ziploc or something.
Yeah, that baggie that has either like alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and it that will control it, even bleach, and that will kill them. But you also need to report it of where you're finding it, so they can keep an idea of where it's expanding to and where the most concentration of them are. So
pretty much. What they're looking for is how they're traveling also, and because they can move pretty quickly in different and grab onto even cars and trucks or whatever, and that's what they're looking at. They want to make sure that it's not moving from place to place.
And it's a requirement for people that are either landscapers or even like lumber companies that they need to do their due diligence by inspecting their loads before they go out to see that they've been inspected. Now, there are online that there is a checklist of what you need to do. And 1-800-BAD-BUG, I think, is 1-800.
It is.
And that if you just go and Google bad bug, spotted lanternfly, you will come up with a lot of information. Don't be surprised that if it goes directly to Penn State, not Rutgers, but Penn State, because PA is the one who is really behind the whole effort of trying to get this under control. We talked a little bit during the break, and that we did see a little bit of control in southern New Jersey, Philadelphia, because at one time they were climbing the buildings in downtown Philly.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
You'd walk in the parking lot and it'd be like they're flying underneath your feet.
It was like an army. It was like an army, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah,
it was. And
unbelievable.
during the fall, when they're getting ready to lay their eggs, they were climbing up they were climbing up these office buildings where, for instance, our studios were.
Yeah, we're talking.
It was amazing. So again, the adults and the egg masses are what they'll lay up to 50 eggs that will hatch, and then they become little tiny black bugs. Now, if you've had tomatoes or peppers or eggplant or any of those insects, you probably have seen them on your plants, because it used to be that would be only they're only on the tree of heaven, and the tree of heaven looks like sumac kind of, but it's not sumac. There's a difference. But my whole life I called it sumac. But tree of heaven is where they congregate. My son had a tree of heaven in his backyard, and they were massed on as adults getting ready to lay eggs on tree of heaven. So the idea is to cut down the tree of heaven and get rid of that, so that it eliminates their food source. There are some insects that are controlling it, like praying mantids have been seen controlling the adults and eating some of the population, which is great. But when we were in Philly and walking through, that looked like we were parting the Red Sea. This is not a good insect at all.
No, it's not.
No threat to humans, no threat to pests, but it will eat up to 70 different types of agricultural products.
So the economy is really at stake here.
It is. It is. So you scrape the egg mass off, you put it in a little bit of alcohol, and then you contact the number. Just go online, bad bug. It's a reporting thing. Any businesses, there is a checklist, and you have to get certified. There's free training, and that you just need to comply with this as you're moving freight, whether it's firewood or whether it's lumber or whether it's just your trucks. that you need to go and get this training to comply with the quarantine.
Wow.
It's a big deal because
It is a big deal.
I know that Connecticut and southern New York, that they're dealing with it, but it's migrating up into the north, I guess, New England states as well.
It's going up north. Yeah.
I would bet that guy in Ohio when we were in.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
When we were in the short course in Columbus, and we asked, the horticulturist at the Columbus Zoo said, how are you dealing with the spotted lanternfly? And he goes, what?
What's that?
What's a spotted lanternfly?
Yeah, right.
I guess he knows now.
He probably will.
He knows now. Anyway, if you have any questions, make sure you call the hotline. We'd be more than happy to help you. All right, we'll be right back in the garden right after this.
Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Organic Potting Soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is available at these local retailers: Barlow's, Seagirt, New Jersey; Espen Shade's Garden Centers and Greenhouse, Monton, Pennsylvania; Ashcomb's Farm and Greenhouse, Mechanicsburg, PA.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with their #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Julio, we are
gosh.
running out of time, so we're going to have to do this quick. Houseplant rant this week.
Yeah.
The craze of collectible houseplants.
Oh, my goodness.
It is amazing. Monstera cuttings, $200 for variegated cuttings.
Wow.
Hoya, compacta Hoya with the variegated, it's a Hindu rope.
Right.
$6,500.
Sold.
We actually are going to have 2-foot staked plants for $500.
Wow. I'm looking forward to that.
We're going to have a lot of collectible plants. It's something we're bringing in. And you go, Carl.
There you go.
So you better, I told them, you better sell them. Some of the things that are for the regular folks, there are collectible plants that are coming out by proven winners. And that where it won't be as expensive in the hundreds of dollars, but they will be unique, limited introductions that they can have.
Yeah.
If you are a collector, I want to hear from you.
That's right.
What is your favorite plant? What are you looking for? I tell you, the pink, like philodendron pink princess.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy?
It's crazy.
Oh.
Crazy.
Pretty cool looking, then.
It is beautiful.
It is.
All right. We're going to be right back to wrap up the show right after this.
Julio down by the schoolyard.
Okay, Julio.
All right.
That was awkward.
Goodness.
Anyway, lots to learn today.
Tons,
Lots to learn today. I hope that we answered everybody's questions.
Yeah.
We will be here next week right in the garden. And so please give us a call and we'll answer anything you've got. Anything to add, Julio?
Yeah. Anytime you can get us on Bloomers and Garden. All right. So search for us on your podcast platform, or go to bloomers.com and visit the radio tab.
Right. If you want to see what we look like.
Yep.
Julio Handsome.
I'll tell you what.
Go to our YouTube page. We'll see you next week right here in the garden.
See you in the garden.